Hello, folks. Welcome to Scratch the Surface. I'm EJ Scott. Today, my guests are Dave Hill and Matt Jones. Together, they are Hill Jones. They have been performing together as an improv show, group, team, I don't know, for several years now. And they are even writing together, and they made a movie together. And they both come over and talk about their process of writing and working and collaborating and what went into making this low-budget movie that's now on iTunes, by the way. But before we get into that, I'd like to give myself a plug. You can follow me on Twitter at EJ Scott, the podcast at EJ Podcast. I have a website, ejscott.com, Instagram, ejscott1106. I did a documentary. There's a documentary made about me and 12 marathons that I ran in 2012 called Running Blind. It's only 30 minutes long and only about $2 or $3 to rent it or buy it. And that is available on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon. Digital only available right now. So go check that out. Why did I run those marathons? Well, I am losing my eyesight to an eye disease called choroideremia. It runs in my family. My grandfather was blind. I was diagnosed almost 15 years ago, and I'm legally blind now. And to raise awareness and money, I ran marathons all over the country in 2012. And last year, I ran all over the world. That has not been made a documentary yet. Maybe. So go check that out if you can, please. You'll be glad you did. Okay, so I invited Matt Jones and Dave Hill over to talk about their writing process for the movie The Night is Young. Matt Jones has been on before. He was on a few years ago, but this is Dave's first time on. I've known Dave for a long time. Since about 2003, I've known Matt a couple years after that, so I've known him a long time too. Matt was running a little late due to an audition, so I talked to Dave Hill first, which was good actually. We got to do a one-on-one. I got to talk to him about him and find out his background, where he's from and what got him into improvising and writing and performing and all that stuff. So we had a good talk, and then after that, you'll see I stop everything, and then Matt Jones joins us, and he had a rough time getting out of the audition, and I guess there was traffic, and he wasn't in the best mood, but he relaxed. We had a good time. So then we talked in great length about the writing process and their collaboration and everything. It was I love talks like this. I don't have a writing partner or anything like that, or even a performing partner. I always kind of wanted one, so I always like hearing about other people's chemistry and how that stuff all works out for them. So I found it very interesting. I hope you will too. Oh, and also my girlfriend kind of interrupted the podcast a little bit, so I had to stop it another time. But it all flows very well. Trust me. So without any further ado, I hope you will enjoy my talk with Dave Hill and Matt Jones from April 27th, 2017. All right. Hi, Dave Hill.
Hi, EJ Scott.
How's it going?
It's good, man. How are you?
You are one half of the dynamic duo Hill Jones.
I am.
The other half is en route.
He
is 30 minutes late already. When you're that late, I get to call you.
I was gonna say you get to call. That's. I think that's fair.
I think so.
I think that's totally fair.
He's coming from an audition.
Yeah.
But we'll talk to him about that when he gets here. But I was like, well, we should just start.
Yeah. Great.
We'll talk about your collaboration with the improv and the writing and the directing the movie and all that stuff when he gets here. But cool. For now, so you're from? I know you from here.
From LA.
I moved out here in 2003.
And I was dipping my toe in the water in 2003.
Beautiful water of LA.
Beautiful, crystalline, sparkling, beautiful water.
Yep. refreshing.
Nom, 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 nom. Such good water. And then I went back to Chicago to get my you-know-what together, and then was back out here for good in 2004.
Okay. How long were you out here initially for that?
Like maybe 3-4 months. I did like pilot season and
Gotcha.
just kind of got my bearings.
Were you, after those 3-4 months, you were like, all right, I'm going to do it?
Yeah. That was kind of the way back then. That was kind of the way that you kind of, figured out, kind of got some agent stuff lined up and stuff like that. And then, I went back and tied up all my loose ends in Chicago.
Yeah.
And,
did you have like an apartment or something?
Yeah. Closed all that stuff out. I had, did a bunch of like gigs back in Chicago to kind of build up the kitty. And,
paid gigs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had been doing a lot of Second City BizCo, business company, around that time.
Tour
and I had a couple, Tourco. Yeah. I did a little bit of Tourco, but mostly like spot stuff. Because by the time I was really in a position to get on a Tourco, because it was like those were choice, spots at that point.
Oh, yes, thank you so much.
Oh, good. She had a very important call.
Ah, good.
And it's one of those things. It's with the government. So you call and they say, you're the 200th person.
We will get back to you.
Yeah, we'll call you back.
Gotcha.
So she kept missing the callbacks. So this is the third callback. So I was like, look, if you got to take it, just walk it. I don't care.
It'll make the podcast feel more real.
Whatever you got to do.
Because life is happening around it.
Taxes.
Fucking taxes. Life, death, and taxes.
So are you born and raised Chicago?
Yep, suburbs. Yep.
What was it like for you growing up there?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it.
You had siblings?
Nope, I was but all of my extended family lived within like an hour.
Yeah.
So I had a bunch of cousins that were all older, so I felt like I grew up with siblings because they were all so close. Which was great. Yeah.
I was trying to avoid this type of stuff. That's why I was like, I wonder if they could come earlier, because Deb's also got to work out right now. But then last night the trainer changed times to earlier, so I was like, this is a mess.
This is one of those days. This is just a mess.
This is like a sitcom.
This is a sitcom. This is an income tax sitcom.
A real life sitcom. The sitcom's called Tax.
And then like
tax
the door opens again and just like, hey neighbor, oh boy,
I heard you're having trouble with your taxes.
You're having trouble with your taxes. My cousin's a CPA. Oh, Glenn. It's just Glenn walks in.
And he's a little gay.
He's a little gay, doesn't know it. Doesn't know it about himself yet. But we all love him and accept him for whatever he is. Glenn.
Oh, Glenn.
Oh, Glenn.
So you grew up out there with your folks. What'd your folks do?
My mom was a professor at Northwestern.
Oh, professor, smart.
She helped kids and stroke victims stop stuttering. Dealing with, yes, she was a speech and language pathologist.
No kidding. Oh, that's interesting. Does she still do it?
No, she retired a few years ago.
Okay.
So, yeah, but she's very active kind of in the National Association of, speech therapists and stuff.
Yeah. What about your pop?
My dad was a home builder. He built houses.
Okay. Like a construction or just
like a development company.
Okay, right on. Did he build your house?
He did.
Yeah,
he did.
That's cool. My Deborah's dad's an architect.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then my cousin and her husband, who her husband is kind of like my big brother. They're both architects, so that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were you like as a kid? Were you a performer? Were you?
I think I was. I think, being the youngest in my generation in the family, I kind of had to
get attention somehow. So you lowered your voice.
Right. I took injections into my throat at the age of 7. Yeah, no, I think that we were a loud family, like boisterous.
Yeah. Mine is too.
And lots of joking and lots of, high energy, loud. So if you want to stand out in that, you got to really, pump it up,
Yeah. Is that hard to go back to? And if you have like a reunion, is it?
Oh, it's great.
Is it fun?
It's fun. Yeah, I love my family. We have a lot of fun, lots of laughs, lots of bits.
Yeah.
And now, like, all my cousins, or pretty much all my cousins, have kids now, and some of them are now like teens, in college. So now I do bits with them.
That's
and now
cool.
it's
Any of them
it's fun.
following in your steps of comedy?
Not necessarily in comedy. One of them is getting into production, like on the like she's like a PA on a couple shows that film on the East Coast. She went to college on the East Coast and
New York.
not college in New York, but then she's been going to New York and doing some PA work, and also she went to school around DC. There's a fair amount of production there.
Oh yeah.
So she's worked on like Veep and a couple of those kind of shows.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun. She'll call me and be like, "Look at this thing I did."
Oh,
it's fun.
Cute.
Yeah,
so they're pretty supportive of your acting and
yeah. I mean,
do they get it? I mean, like,
yes, they get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of times I'm like, what are you doing?
I know.
You're on stage.
Yeah. It's funny not now. For a while they've been in that place of like, since I've been working a little bit here and there. Now they're in that place of like, I watched this thing and you should have been the guy in that thing. Yeah. And I'm just like, well,
you
great.
would have been better.
Great. It's just too bad I missed the call when they called me to say they wanted me to be that thing.
You should be Chris Pratt.
Exactly.
Why aren't you Chris Pratt?
Why aren't you one of the Guardians of that galaxy? It's plural. They can always use more Guardians. Get in there.
You're more handsome than Chris.
Get in there and guard that galaxy.
That's so funny. So when did you start? Where'd you go to college? In Chicago?
No, I went to college in Jersey. I went to Princeton University.
Oh, never heard of it.
Yep. It's a small little rural college in the middle of New Jersey. Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty good school.
Yeah.
What was Princeton like?
I loved it. It was
really?
Great. Yeah. It's kind of stupid as far as how much it feels like college. It just feels, it has that kind of quintessential vibe because it's got a lot of history and yeah.
It's still got a lot of drunk kids in it.
Still got a lot of drunk kids. Right? And I was one of them.
There you go.
I was one of them. Work hard, play hard. No, but it was great. And at the time I was there, I loved acting and writing, and I'd done a lot of that stuff in high school, but I don't know if I was really all the way going to pursue a career in it. And
so you were dipping your toe in
I love political science. I did an internship in DC one summer, and I was thinking about that, although going to DC even back then, it was like, this place is so out of whack, even back then.
Which was around what?
It would have been like around 2000, yeah. Anyway, at the time, there just so happened to have been, like, right before I got on campus, like a real awakening of the arts on campus. Princeton, still to this day, doesn't have a acting, degree. You can't get a theater degree.
Oh, really? Okay.
You can basically cobble it together through the English department, but you can't get a theater degree. So it wasn't something that was supported academically.
Do they have plays and stuff?
Oh yeah,
they do. Okay.
But see, that's the thing, is like extracurricularly.
Okay.
I can say that 10 times fast. The arts were like exploding, like right when I got there. All these new groups, like there was an improv group a couple years before I got there that got started. There was like all this stuff that hadn't really been around. There'd been, these kind of classic, 100+ years theater groups, of which, Triangle Club was one, and I did a lot of stuff with Triangle Club. When I was there, it was like, that was like a create original sketch comedy reviews and musicals and all that stuff. But then like there was so much going on that I basically had two majors where I was like always in a play or always doing improv weekend shows or, et cetera, et cetera. So
Was that your introduction to improv?
it was.
Yeah. You never saw any
No, well, I did. Well, no,
Chicago?
that's not true. I mean, I went to Second City a bunch as a kid.
Okay.
So as far as doing it, it was my intro.
Right,
but
right.
like growing up in Chicago, it was like there was like a few institutions, and Second City was absolutely one of them. So yeah, I went to a whole bunch of.
Did your parents take you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember seeing Do you remember seeing anybody on stage that we'd know?
I remember seeing. I don't remember much about it.
Sure.
But I do remember seeing. I was pretty young, but I saw Colbert and Carell.
Oh man, that's cool.
And that's to have that when I really got into things again, and especially in improv, and then when I was back in Chicago after college and I started doing it, and like Second City has all the photos everywhere, just like every theater does, and there was a Carell and Colbert and Rosowski photo on the wall,
Right.
and I was like, oh my God, I saw that show. And I couldn't really remember it very well because I was probably, I don't even know what I would have been, 10 or 11, maybe 12.
We got like deja vu.
Yeah. And it was just like, oh, wow, yeah, I did see them, you know.
Wow.
And then when I was like back in Chicago after school, all I was doing was improv and acting. I was at Second City like all the time.
All the time. Did you go through the classes?
Went through the conservatory. Yeah.
And then did you do IO, of course?
Yep. I started IO about a month after I started Second City. Mm-hmm. IO I didn't really know about because when I was like high school into college was right when IO really became a thing, and then I wasn't in town as much, so I wasn't coming into the city as much.
Well, kids don't go to IO.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It's more of a bar atmosphere.
Yeah. So
what about comedy, sports, annoyance? When did you do
I
all
did
that
comedy,
stuff?
sports. I did annoyance. I started at Second City in classes. Then I went to watch at IO, and I was like, I love this, and took a class there. And then People of Earth, my Herald team that I'm on with Andy St. Clair and Alex Fendrich and Jason Pardo and Danny Mora, who are all out here in LA now. We were all in level 1 class together, and then we became the team People of Earth after level 1 together.
That's incredible. Recently,
it was really cool.
I had St. Clair on my podcast, and he was telling that story.
Yeah.
And I was like, get out of here. Because Sharna came up to you guys and was like,
yeah,
you guys are going to do it, be a team.
And I guess our coach, it's very unheard of. And our coach, Peter Gwynn, who was one of the founding members of Baby Wants Candy and wrote for Colbert for a bunch of years and really amazing teacher and writer and comedian himself. I guess he went to Sharna and he said, like, I want to coach a team of, like, the most green but most promising people you have. And she was like, all right, here's this team.
Here it is. Wow.
Did he tell the story about Backadall?
No, I don't think so.
So Dan Backadall, who is on Life in Pieces now,
and
Veep sometimes, and hilarious, great actor. He had started at IO like the session before we all started, and but we hung out with him and we became like friends with him really quick because back you kind of like everybody was like, oh yeah, we are all. We're all in it to win it. We're all gonna have a lot of fun together. So we'd hang with him. So evidently, when Sharna went into the office to tell whoever was putting the schedule together the roster of our team, she went in and she was like, "These people," and then Bald Dan. And there was Bald Dan Backadall, and there was another guy, Bald Dan Sip. And the person doing the schedule just assumed that it was the guy who was in our class, Dan Sip, and not Dan Backadall.
Oh.
So Backadall should have been on our original team.
Oh.
Dan Sip is great and hilarious, and it was great to have him on the team.
Bald.
And I'm sure he'd love us talking about it.
Very bald.
But it was just so funny that ended up happening, and we didn't realize that was the case until like a year later.
Oh, really?
And then he was on a bunch of great teams already, and
like Sharna didn't go, "Hey, that's not the Bald Dan I meant."
But that's Sharna. I mean, God love her. She's just like, and Bald Dan, And then she like walked out of the room with all of her dogs. You know?
And the white guy.
Exactly. And no, not that white guy. The other white guy. Oh, God damn it. You know?
No kidding. That would have been a great, extra great team.
Oh my God.
That back and all. He's such a good improviser.
Such a good improviser.
That's so funny. So when does he know that story?
Mm-hmm.
He does.
I think we talked about it because I mean now it's so long ago.
Was he pissed? Like, God damn, I would love to be on that team.
Yeah.
You ever think of inviting him now? Because you guys resurrected People of Earth at I.O.
Yeah, and we're starting to travel a little bit now too. That would be a great idea.
That'd be funny.
Yeah.
Like the fifth Beatle.
I know. It's true. It would be. That's kind of what it's like.
That'd be so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so you come out. So what's your goal? I mean, you after college, are you like, all right, I'm just gonna go head first into this performing thing?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely more on the straight acting side, and I did a bunch of plays in Chicago, and I'd started to do. There was minimal TV work then, and I'd done like featured extra BS stuff. Right. But I was like, I'm gonna try and do that, and then honestly, getting on People of Earth and having us all be of such a shared mindset about like what we wanted to accomplish in improv and how much we all threw ourselves into it, it really definitely changed that trajectory. And it was just fun, and we kept kind of moving up the ranks and having a great time and really pushing ourselves and pushing each other. And yeah. And then, at that time, honestly, improv was just starting to be a thing that was respected. Yeah. Like my first agent was like, don't tell people you do improv.
Really?
Don't tell when you go in for auditions, like don't put it out there.
Now it's like you have to have
Now it's like the first thing they want to know for so many different projects. Yeah. So
that's because a lot of the people from Chicago in that time are working and making movies and TV shows.
Yep.
And they want that skill set. They want that tool in their actors and stuff.
Yep.
Because they enjoy it. They're like, we know what's good from it.
And they know, and now it's so great because the industry, I mean, like, voiceover gets it now, commercials get it now, TV, film, they all get it, where it's a value-added thing. It's not a distraction, or, it's not just like fly-by-night, or, it's not just bits, weird bits, Anyway, yeah.
After Princeton, did you just know you were going back to Chicago, or was there a thought like maybe New York or LA or something like that?
No, because I wanted to do improv, and at that point, Chicago was Mecca. I mean, it'll always be Mecca, but it's, that was your option.
Yeah.
And like, even though I was doing temp jobs and, eating hot dogs and soup and ramen for a long time, it started to be something where you could actually scrape together a couple bucks. Yeah. Comedy Sports paid. They did a lot of corporate gigs. I did a lot of corporate stuff for them.
You could coach, you could teach.
You could teach. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was, and it was what I wanted to do.
It's so fun.
It is. It's so fun.
And it's so addicting.
It is so addicting, as you know.
Oh God. Were you hoping to get on main stage at Second City?
I think everybody was at that time, but I'll say that it was a weird time right then, because it was kind of a pivot point industry-wise, because, I mean, this is from my perspective, so maybe this isn't like, the law, but it felt like there was kind of a bottleneck especially at the Second City stages, because it for so long it was just like, okay, you get on main stage or ETC, and then like 6 months later you're hired at SNL or Mad TV, right, or you get a writing gig, or you're on a sitcom,
right? And
it was just like this pipeline.
Yeah.
And then that kind of started to slow down, and you'd have people that would be on main stage or ETC for like 2, 3, 4 years, right, and then of course everybody's backed up behind them,
right? So,
and then they opened up a couple other stages around the country at that point, right, and so that kind of fed it out. But like before those others, like before Second City Vegas opened and a couple of the other ones, I was already like, I could just see even if everything worked exactly right, and they were not short on white guys in their 20s,
Right.
you know, so even if everything had just like worked out perfectly, it was going to be like
Years.
3 to 5 years until I would even be close.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to wait.
Yeah.
So so that was a goal, but then it was like within about 2 years, I was kind of ready to. Yeah.
Did you do any of those cruise ships or anything?
I didn't. I left right when those were starting.
Okay.
I got offered one right when I was about to leave. And I was like, how long? You know, because the contracts back then, it was, well, now they do 4 months, but back then it was 8 months.
Oh, that's a long time.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
And I know people that did it, and they, you know, they really banked up. That was how a lot of people got their kitty to move out to LA.
Yeah.
Was that they would put all their stuff in storage so they wouldn't be paying rent on an apartment.
Yeah.
And then they would go on a boat for, you know, at that point 8 months. But yeah.
I was trying to do that. I auditioned for one of them. I didn't get it, but I was like, I'll try it. It was like right before I moved back here. I was like, let me try an audition. It was my first audition for that stuff. Saturday Night Live. Did you audition for Saturday Night Live?
I did. You know, they would come every year and scout.
Yep.
And I got into a couple of. I never went to New York, but I got to a couple times where it was like a not private, but like a smaller group. They would do kind of like a medium showcase kind of thing, but it would be more like only them there kind of a thing, not an audience per se. So it was almost like a pre,
like an audition.
Yeah, but it was like not. Yeah, it was a showcase but they would do like huge. I mean, they would do these shows where it'd be like 40 of us on, you know. I mean, it was crazy how they would do some of these showcase shows when
they were improvised, right, back then. Like groups of improvisers.
Groups of improvisers
thrown together.
You're right, and then from that, then they had like another like smaller thing. I remember one year they did that, but yeah. And then when I was out here, I did a couple tapes, but yeah.
Yeah, is that nerve-wracking to do that gig and just look out in the audience and like Lorne Michaels is sitting there?
He wasn't there. He was the there? 1 year that I remember he wasn't there, but it was a couple of the other producers. But it was like
Tina Fey
because I was like
or anything?
I don't know, I was like 25.
Right.
I was freaking out.
Who was it, like Higgins? Was Higgins there or something?
I think so. Tina Fey wasn't there.
Seth Meyer?
No. Although that was about when he would have gotten hired.
Right.
Because he was he's a couple years old.
Because he was a Chicago guy too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was I.O., right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was like the way I would describe it is like he was like a senior when I was a freshman.
Right.
Kind of a thing. Like I think he'd already come back from Boom Chicago then.
Okay.
And like I knew him and I hung out and he's a buddy. He was, speaking of SNL, he was very kind and hooked me up with a ticket. A couple years ago, I was there for like a totally separate. I was there for a baptism for somebody that I'm there, a godfather, and a buddy was there, and he's obsessed with SNL and had never gotten to go. And I was like, "Could you get my buddy a ticket?" And Seth totally delivered. It was really sweet of him.
Who's the host?
That was Jamie Foxx.
Oh yeah,
was the host.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I did extra work on SNL many years ago.
Wow!
But my scene got cut.
Oh no!
Right before we went live.
Oh God!
Yeah, but I did a dress rehearsal.
That's cool.
The guest was Tom Green. And
cool.
it was a remember Mango, like Chris Kattan?
Yeah.
So it was a Mango sketch. And I was positive it was not going to get cut. I was like, no way it's getting cut.
Mango's the biggest thing
it's
ever.
Huge.
It's Mango.
Huge. It's Mango.
Come on, man. It's Mango.
But I think Tom Green didn't enjoy the sketch. Because I remember getting there and being brought out onto the stage. And he was already in costume as like a squid or something. Like some weird octopus squid
and
thing.
He's like, I don't need to be this.
He literally looked at me and just like shrugged. He was like, I don't know. I don't know what this is.
I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just here.
And that's Tom Green, who humps a dead moose on the street.
Yeah.
and
he's like, what am I doing?
What am I doing?
I understand dead moose on the street. I get dead moose on the street. Dead moose on the street is right in my wheelhouse. But this, I mean, come on. What are we, ladies and gentlemen, I implore you.
But that was the one where he proposed to Drew Barrymore at the end.
Oh, wow.
So she was hanging out back. Gwyneth
I was
Paltrow,
wondering where that was in that time frame.
Gwyneth Paltrow did a thing for Weekend Update, so she was hanging out back.
Wow.
And then Cameron Diaz was just hanging out.
Yeah. I will say, I've gone 4 times.
Oh, yeah.
And every time I've been hung out in the writer's room, which I don't have a problem with.
Oh, wow.
Because it's a kind of a fun way to connect to, the show. But then you're up, the writer's room is kind of where a lot of where the action is, dressing rooms and whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, it's like, what are you doing here? It's a crazy.
People just hang out, right?
People just hang out. Celebrities
just come.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a great show.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching this last episode, and I'm like, God damn, I can't believe how good this show still is.
Yeah.
After all these
years.
Gotten
better.
Yeah.
This last year, I really feel like it's gotten better.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Deb went to school with Beck and Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
She went to school with them.
Cool.
And I sort of know Adie and Cecily and Vanessa from Chicago.
I've got to know Adie and Vanessa a little bit because I was already gone when they were really starting in Chicago, but then we have a lot of mutual friends.
Yeah. And then I moved to Chicago in 2008.
Right. Yes.
And that's how I met those guys. Okay, so you're in Chicago for what? Like after college,
about
4 years?
5 years.
5 years,
mm-hmm.
And then you move out to LA,
mm-hmm.
and that it's nice because by that point, Iowa West was well set up.
Oh yeah,
you had a good chunk of your friends out there. It's nice to go out somewhere. It's like, oh great, this is gonna be great.
I don't know how I would have made it those first that first year and a half or so without knowing that, because I was living in Los Feliz, so without being able to drive 5 to 10 minutes and find my people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a community.
It's such a community, and it was a total lifeline moving here. For
you
sure.
start teaching, you start all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How was auditioning and all that stuff? Was that
starting out?
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard.
It was hard. I mean, I think even then, although improv was starting to be better, it was still not like now I feel like I get 90% of my work because people know that I can improvise.
Right.
They want to hire me because they know I can do that.
Yeah.
Whereas still even back then it was like, you'd go in, and even at that point I'd done a couple films and a couple things where people were starting to get more comfortable with using improv. But even at that point, you'd go in and, it would be even just for a co-star on a TV show or something like that. And I would just throw a little something in there because I thought it was fun. And the look on their face was like, how dare you? How dare you take these 3 lines as lawyer number 2 and do this? Exactly.
All right, here's Matt Jones.
Here we go.
It's one of the things
that
makes me
not
want to be an actor. Is you can sit there for an hour, right?
Yeah.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
No, I fucking can't.
I had one about a year ago, almost exactly about a year ago, pilot season last year, and it was on the Disney lot, and I'm not going to call out the office, but it was like there was 3 of us all there for the same role, sitting in this area waiting, but it was a Disney, and it was one of those buildings where they're always shifting where the offices are and all that stuff. So it was where we were waiting was kind of off to the side, and the 3 of us had kind of gotten there all within about 2-3 minutes of each other, but I guess there had been a gap from when the other people that were there for that role had shown up.
Right.
We sat there for 45 minutes, and then and we could hear the office down the hall being like, "Oh my god," blah, 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 they think they're talking so much shit. Doors were open, and it was kind of lunchish time, And then like 45 minutes later, the assistant walks out and she like stops short and sees the three of us. And she's like, what are you guys doing here?
Yeah.
And we were like, we've been here for 45 minutes. And they just like didn't think to come out and look and see if there was anybody there. And like, and they were mad at us that we didn't come back and say something. And I was just like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
Anyway.
It's okay.
I ranted for you so you could
thanks.
have you could
Sorry.
take a breath.
That's okay. Just heads up. Don't try not to touch the table or mics too much.
Okay, sure.
So what was the audition for? Can I ask?
It's a voiceover thing. I don't.
Be careful, Matthew.
This won't come out for a couple weeks.
I don't really know what it was for.
Okay.
Sometimes it's one of those.
One of those. So you had like dummy lines or something?
Yeah, or like the VO world is different. Sometimes they'll just be like, yeah, we have these things, and like here's a basic idea of the character. Be like, well, what's the movie about? Yeah, well, we can't tell that. Okay. So like, what's happening in this scene? Well, just kind of this, but it might change. And I'm like, so. And then they're like, just play with it.
It's called.
And then,
it's
let's
called
hang out
vague.
and talk for a minute. And you're just like, I can't complain because I need this job.
I had one of those ones.
But then it was like I was supposed to be there at a certain time, and the person that I guess they didn't even tell me it was the director or like one of the producers needed to be there for it, and we were waiting for them to come.
I see.
So it was a lot of just like.
He was doing a podcast.
He was doing a podcast.
Sure.
He was here doing the earlier slot of this podcast.
This is my fault.
And this place where I was at is literally in a basement. It's literally underground.
That's not
is
shady.
it Warner Brothers?
Shady?
No, it's not Warner
okay.
Brothers.
They have a crazy VO bunker in Warner Brothers.
really?
Yeah.
Did I? I've never done that.
Yeah, I worked on a video game there. It was like
Oh, the
super
one,
down in
the
basement.
weird lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other lot.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, this was no. But afraid to talk about it because I don't.
Yeah, don't do it.
I want a job.
Does it involve a project that rhymes with Schluckesbilm?
No, it doesn't. Whatever. I don't even know if I'll get it, but
Yeah.
and it also like came in yesterday.
Yeah.
You went in yesterday for it?
No.
They
appointment.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, okay, well,
Yeah.
let's just not.
I think you'll get it.
No, I might not.
After
It's
all
actually
this-
we were basically up to he was asking me about my past and we were basically up to the point where I met you. So it was actually,
perfect.
pretty great time.
You've talked about my past before. We didn't need
Yeah.
it.
Well, it's
Yeah.
funny. Welcome back to Scratch the Surface.
Thanks.
You were
We scratch a little harder this time.
We scratch harder.
you were my 6th podcast,
Oh wow!
and this is like my 140 something.
Wow, has it been that long?
Wow.
It's been like 3 years.
Prolific.
Thank you.
Prolific.
Disgusting.
That's
Disgusting.
A long.
That's exactly how I would have described it. So okay, let's go. How did you guys meet?
So right about the time when I was here, a buddy of mine was Ryan Archibald, who was on People of Earth with me, had been hired at Second City, Las Vegas, and at the time he was getting married. So I went up for the wedding, and Matt had just come back like a week before or something like that from Boom.
Oh no, like
It's like a month?
7 months.
Oh, it had been a while.
yeah,
Okay.
because I had been back since January.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So he was friends with Ryan from their work in Boom Chicago and Amsterdam, but we met at the wedding,
Okay.
and which at the time had the hottest day on record in the history of Las Vegas.
It got
Was
up
the
to
day that
130?
18?
No,
was
Death
it?
Valley was 135.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And it was like 118, 120
Yeah.
in Vegas.
I think the record has since been broken,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was yeah.
The reception was outside,
outside.
around a pool.
Around a pool.
And everybody just got in the pool and had their eyes above water.
And
Like
it was just
alligators or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, and everyone, it just was it's so hot where it's just like, you just feel like you have a headache, and everyone's eyes were like at half mast, and it was just like,
Everybody was just in pain. It was horrible.
this was the noise.
Thanks a lot, Ryan.
Yeah.
Well, and the marriage ended. So.
Yeah, that's right. It was like, and it was also 7707, which
Yeah.
should have been the luckiest day. And,
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, not so lucky. Not so lucky.
And like we got caught in traffic on the way to the service, and we missed it
Oh, you missed
because it was like on the dot,
Yeah.
and it was 3 minutes long or
Yeah.
something like that.
Oh.
It was at a chapel. It was at an Elvis chapel.
And there was
I
this
see, I see.
huge line of like, I don't know, hundreds of people waiting to get in
An Elvis
that
chapel?
day.
Yeah.
Some kind of chapel, I don't know. And,
It was because it was 7707. Everybody was getting married.
and when we got there, like,
Yeah.
I'm sure they all worked out, all the marriages.
like, and I'm telling you, like, we were like 3 minutes late and we missed it.
Yeah.
And they were walking out and they're like, you didn't miss anything. It was so hot in there. It was just like really fast.
I was going to stand up at the wedding, and I think you were too.
Yeah.
And we got. I don't know if I ever told you this, but we got there, and because they were turning people over so fast because they wanted to get everybody in, and it was like probably one of the biggest money makers of this chapel in its history. Like literally, I was like all set to stand up. You know, it was going to be a short service, whatever. But like we get there, and the person running the thing, I was like, excuse me, so I'm supposed to be standing up, and I don't know where I'm supposed to go. And she's like, oh no, we don't have time for that. They literally were just like the two of them up there. That was it, and it was over. I mean, it was bang bang bang. It was crazy.
Matt, thank you.
Sorry, I have shaky legs.
I do too.
Yeah,
I understand. I
like
understand.
literally shake my leg.
It sounds like an earthquake.
Sorry.
Okay, so because I met you around the time you came out,
Came back,
Boom,
yeah.
came back from Boom Chicago
Yeah.
too, and I was like, "Who's this dude? He knows everybody."
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because I had been in LA. I knew all the LA people.
Yeah.
Because I was doing the LA scene from like 99 to 2004. Because I'm from here.
Right.
And there wasn't much of a scene, but the people that were there. And then I got back in 2007, and all of a sudden improv was like such a thing here. Because I was doing shows at I.O. 2001
Oh wow.
When I was at the complex.
at the Complex. And the sweaty little...
Sweat
When
box.
they used to do the cage match, literally the cage match was a guy in a luchador mask
Right.
for years.
Yep.
Who was that guy?
I forgot who it was.
I don't
Paul
remember who it
Valancourt?
was either. No, it's not Paul Valancourt.
Brian O'Connell sometimes?
He was one of the he joined that crew, but who
I
was
can't
it?
remember who it was.
Yeah. Anyway.
And they literally were like, I'm not doing this anymore. This mask is way too
Yeah.
So you guys struck a friendship right away?
Yeah, we really did.
Yeah, and then we got drunk at I.O. one night.
That
a
rarely happens.
A month
Go ahead.
after that.
Yeah.
And we were sitting in the bar.
We should do a show.
Yeah, and then there was a big sign that said a two-man competition.
Right.
Duo competition.
You guys should. I was like, I've never seen you perform before, and he's like,
I've never seen you perform before.
So I was like, that'd be hilarious if we entered this competition
Yeah.
together. And then like we won the whole competition
Wow.
over like 8 weeks.
Wow. Was it already called Hill Jones?
It was just.
I don't remember what. Yeah, I think. I
I
don't.
think we just called it Hill Jones.
Yeah, I think we just called it that. Yeah.
Our two last names.
Yeah.
That's so funny. And
Yeah.
then when did you guys start writing together?
A couple years into that, we
Yeah.
probably didn't really start writing until
Yeah.
we wrote that pilot together in
year was it?
2011.
Yeah.
Maybe that's when we started writing.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And you guys just, even writing wise, it worked out?
We
and
wrote a
stuff like that?
pilot, and then we were like,
Yeah.
it was more of an exercise.
Yeah. To
Okay.
see if it worked.
And then we wrote a movie and made it.
And what's the writing process like for you guys? Do you write separately, together?
Oh,
Both?
together.
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 Just improvise together.
So here you, oh, that's me. Oh, good. Well, this is a day of interruptions.
That looks like.
Mira Loma, California. I'm
Yeah,
sure it's
that
a.
looks
Sounds
like-
fake.
I get so many sales calls.
I do too.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know how to get off
I
these
know.
lists.
Until recently, I was not on those lists.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting them all the time. It's
Yeah,
like
past
literally,
6 months.
thanks Trump's America.
Yeah.
Thanks, Trump.
It's really
Jerk. How are you guys doing in Trump's America these days? You guys are Trump supporters. Do you love what he's
What
doing?
a terrible, specious thing to say.
It's a horrible thing to think and realize, but I mean, I'm a white guy with a little bit of money. I'm fine.
Right.
Yeah.
But everybody else is
Yeah.
who's being affected.
Yeah.
And that's who I, tend to care about.
Yeah, and it affects you
other
too
people.
because you do care about other people.
Sure, yeah, it
And
does,
the
yeah.
environment affects everybody, and
Yeah, but as a
I
straight white male, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I think we've been fine for
I think we had a good run. We had a good run. Yeah. I don't know. It's so Keystone Cops. I was worried. That election night, I was like, fuck.
Yeah, I was watching it too. I was like, uh-oh.
I haven't been that scared for the nation.
You stayed optimistic.
I stayed
way
optimistic.
longer than
I was
most.
optimistic till that day. I was just like, well, I mean, and popular vote wise,
you were like, no, wait, no.
we'll figure it out, right?
Turn it around.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think so, man. This looks bad.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll feel bad and he'll just drop out.
Right.
He'll just go, it's all
The
hers.
most brilliant thing I saw through that whole election was that Stephen Colbert election night special.
Yeah.
On Showtime.
Where you got real. Yeah.
It was
see it.
so
good.
good. Because he was going to do this live election night coverage with all these jokes. And it starts, and there was already so much bad news when it started. And he's just like ash in the face.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I was going to come out here and try and make you guys laugh, but I can't.
Yeah.
So fuck it, we're just going to talk. And it became this like hour-long
Therapy
session.
Yeah.
And it was way better than a bunch of jokes
Yeah.
to me. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
I was so I don't know. I mean, I love him so much. I was so glad that happened because he really got his footing back.
Yeah.
It was great, and now he's like, it's
top.
we need him. We need him to be him. He's so good.
It is weird then when like the only people at first that were really going after Trump was like Seth Meyers.
Right.
Like he was like one of the only.
Yeah.
And I know people on Daily Show and I've lost that show.
Yeah, I know.
It's just not
It's too bad.
for me anymore. It's for younger
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
You're too old.
Too
I
old.
guess.
Too old.
I watched that show for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's like I can't watch it anymore. It just doesn't.
I still watch. I watch more of that stuff now than ever. I watch Seth Meyers. I watch Colbert. I watch Samantha Bee. I watch John
Samantha Bee's
Oliver.
amazing.
Yeah, she's great.
I watch all
John
that
Oliver.
stuff
Yeah.
daily.
Yeah.
And when it Seth took like 2.5 weeks off, I'm like, what the fuck? Stop it! You kid. Nobody's
You
allowed
get
to take,
no spring break,
None,
Seth
none.
Meyers.
Nobody's allowed to take
A
off.
lot of those shows now, I'm like, I don't care about your stupid celebrity guests.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
stop
I just-
sometimes.
Don't want to watch that.
The only ones I really, and you know it at this point, I like watching the celebrities that will actually talk about real stuff.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
really going on?
What's really
Or
going
even
on.
like Jake Tapper. If,
Yep.
he
Oh,
comes out,
God.
stuff like that.
Jake Tapper. And Jake Tapper's actually legitimately funny, too.
Yeah.
Which a lot of them are just like kind of stuffed shirts. Like, I'm sorry, Dan Rather, but I don't ever need to listen to you ever again, But like, yeah, Jake Tapper's great.
Would you guys want to host a show like that? Would
No.
you guys do that? No.
Not me.
No.
No.
I think like, I would just want to do bits the whole time, and you have to be the host,
Right.
quote unquote. You're hosting.
Yeah.
You have to like take care of the guests and you make them feel comfortable. Make everybody, and so that's a different.
Would you
it's a
prefer
different job.
Jordan Klepper's getting his own show? Would you be like a correspondent for Jordan or something like that?
No. I'm not real. No.
No.
My agent tried to get me
I-
to go go in for Daily Show correspondent a couple times. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
just I didn't want to move to New York, but
Right.
B, I was just like, nah.
Right.
I'm also like politically. I have some very strong views on stuff.
Okay.
Here and there, but I'm also, as a comedian, we're not that informed.
Right.
Like we're informed as we can be.
Right.
But we're not.
Speak
like,
for yourself.
But we're not informed like people, people that work at a news desk.
Sure.
And are there on the ground all the time.
Sure.
Like.
That's their life. That's
Yeah,
their
I
job.
just don't ever feel like I would ever be, confident enough in my knowledge of situations to speak on it.
Well, there's so
with
much
any,
now.
Yeah, and also some of my own views contradict each other. Like,
Oh, right.
it's a big thing that I don't think a lot of people talk about. It's like, we all have these views, but a lot of them are contradictory.
Contradictory, yeah.
Like, a lot of them.
Yeah.
So,
Although I will say, like, especially with like a John Oliver and a Colbert, because I watch a lot of news and consume a lot of news too. The news and news people are more informed, but they are less clear, and they make less important points.
Yeah.
Than a John Oliver or a Stephen Colbert do. And that's the thing that is so weird. Like, one of the things that I dislike the most about Jon Stewart during Daily Show is he kept saying in interviews, I'm not a newsman. Right. I'm not whatever. And it was just like, at a certain point, it was like, dude, yes, you are.
Yeah.
You are. Own that.
You're a journalist.
You're a journalist. And in fact, you're the new wave of journalism.
And you're a large portion of the country
gets their news from you.
Yeah.
And I just wish that and I understood why he never did it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like, dude, when that poll came out like 10 years ago where he was the most trusted news voice, just lean into it, man. Own it. Because
I think it scared him.
I agree. And I know that it wasn't his brand. And I know that, like, I think in the political landscape, he probably felt like, I can't label myself that way because then I get lumped in with everybody like that. And I get that. But it's like, to put it, bluntly, they're the truth tellers at this point.
It's not like The Onion where it's all made up. They're talking about real news and just kind of making fun of it.
About a week ago, I was in a hotel room and I was flipping the channels because you're like, what is this?
Yeah. Why do they have this order of
channel
channels?
67. But it came on the news network. I think it's RT.
I don't know.
The green box in the corner, it says RT.
What is that?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Okay.
It's a news network.
Okay.
Real time.
Or
I don't know.
I don't know if it's a retweet. I have no idea what RT is.
The retweet channel?
But I watched this channel for an hour because it was a news channel where they just literally talked about the news. They didn't have pundits.
News about news?
Yeah.
Hello. You're okay.
They literally just talked about the news for an hour.
Yeah.
They just had like 10 segments of news.
You're right.
And
Blocks
10
of news.
10 different topics where they investigated things and talked about them.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And,
Oh, okay.
Like real news.
Oh,
And I
okay.
was like, I haven't seen this in so long because you turn on CNN and it's the same topic for 45 minutes and you hear 8 people talk about it that don't really know what they're talking about.
Or they're just like completely spouting.
Or they're just
the party line of whatever
or they're guessing. There's a lot of guessing on there.
Yeah.
I would guess that.
Well, the problem with
I don't care what you
CNN
guess.
is every hour there's a new host for that hour, and they just basically go over
restart
the same stuff.
And then it's like with all those panels, especially CNN. I don't know where I read this, but I read this and I think it's really true. It starts to feel like the entertainment shows, like a Colbert or John Oliver, the entertainment shows have flipped and given more news, while the news shows are trying to be more entertainment.
Yeah.
And it's this weird, complete flip of which source is doing the better job of the thing they say they're supposed to be doing.
Like I'll watch the nightly news with Lester Holt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then
former Chicago news anchor Lester Holt.
It is a half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then it is followed by 2 solid hours of entertainment news.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's an hour of extra and then an hour of Access Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
2 hours.
Do you know why there's news? Do you know why there's news on the network? Because it's part of their original charter to get broadcast airtime that is given to them by the government.
Mm-hmm. The news used to be paid for by the government.
And the charter is that all of the networks have to have public service programming. Mm-hmm. It's part of the way that they buy the actual rights to broadcast channels.
And I forget.
If they didn't have to do that, there would be no news.
Yeah.
I forget what year it changed, but the news used to legally could not have commercials, could not push products in any way. It was just solid news for an hour every night, each network.
And that changed. Adam McKay is very political about this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very political. Even what do you know?
Did you meet Adam? Do you have him on here?
I've never had him on here. Love to though.
I don't want to get into it. I agree with a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
But
well, even like an Anchorman, the point of, or Anchorman 2 was like the point of it was like the start of the 24-hour news thing, and how that kind of was like started whatever we're talking about right now, really.
Yep.
Made a lot of problems.
Yep.
Matt's biting his tongue. And,
now blood is coming out of the side of his mouth, and now
he wants to shake his leg so bad. So bad.
Yeah, I just think that, yeah.
So back to our writing process.
Go ahead.
Anyway,
Go ahead. Would you write anything political, you think?
I'd write something satirical.
Yeah.
But not overtly political. I think
Yeah.
I think most overtly political stuff is pretty bad.
Yeah, it depends.
You know, like a Citizen Ruth, or what's the
Citizen.
Tim Robbins,
Bob Roberts.
You know, something like that.
That was good.
Veep. Good. Veep, obviously. I mean, Veep is so good. It's so weird, though, that, Veep is now behind the truth. Like, it's not even ahead of stuff.
And Selena is less crazy than Donald Trump.
Correct. Way less.
Which is
her staff is way more confident or competent than confident and competent than Trump's
can't
staff.
I
write
hope Sean
Sean
Spicer is
Spicer.
here for all 4 years.
I hope
That's
so.
amazing.
I bet he gets.
And then he just immediately goes into a sanitarium in
It's just
Switzerland
like
and is
watching
never heard from
someone
again.
on the verge of a breakdown. I think, honestly, Melissa McCarthy as Sean Spicer
It's one of the most brilliant.
is one of the
things.
most brilliant things I've seen
I
in
agree.
a long time.
Yeah.
When she
It's
when she
so
took
good.
the podium and went to the
And it
reporter,
started hitting
I
everything?
was dying. I was just like, yes, it's so good.
She's only done that 3 times.
I know,
It's
and it's like
brilliant.
It's so impactful already.
Yeah.
Did you audition for SNL?
No, I
Hey,
never
Matt,
did.
never did. Did you want to?
Yeah, it's funny. It was kind of a thing I wanted for a long time. And then I went to Boom, and I met a lot of people.
Yeah.
I worked with people, and a lot of the alumni were SNL people.
Yeah.
And then I had this thing where I was like, I don't want to do that.
Really?
I just...
What was it about you didn't want?
The description of the gig.
The amount
is-
of people's careers that it helps is far outweighed by the amount of people's careers are hurt by it.
Okay.
There's a lot of people I know that went there, dropped everything here, and went there, and got fired after 6 months, and then had to rebuild their lives here.
Right.
And a lot of writers mainly, but it's just a risky move to go out there and get that job because not everybody succeeds, and it's tough. And also, if you're an actor, you go out there and you could just be shoved in the background and never even get a shot to be really great just because, I don't know, the writers aren't writing for you or your style of humor doesn't fit on the show. And I'm not a big impressionist. I never have been.
Yeah, that was always my problem.
And I'm like more of just like a big dumb character kind of guy. And also at my time, the competition for like, goofy white males on that show is tough. That's a tough competition.
Yeah.
Like Mikey Day, who's on it now.
Yeah.
Mikey Day I don't even know how many times he auditioned for SNL.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's been doing Groundlings forever.
I think the first time he auditioned was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe more. Like that dude's been trying to get on that show for forever.
And then he was writing.
Yeah,
He's right.
and then he
And then
got the Maya Rudolph
Maya
thing.
Rudolph, yeah.
And I'm so glad that he got on the show.
Yeah.
But it took him a long time. And then you also learn, I was getting paid more not doing that show.
Right.
It doesn't pay very much.
Yeah.
Unless
you're a host.
Yeah, well, even then.
Really?
But like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was getting on TV shows here because I would see people that would come off SNL and I would be auditioning with them for parts on TV. And I'm like, well, I'm already here. Like all those SNL people want their own TV show. Right. And I've had that a couple times and I don't anymore. But
Are you not on Mom anymore?
I left Mom.
Oh, you left Mom. Why'd you leave Mom?
Oh boy, it's a long...
a long
story.
Complicated
a long
conversation.
winding tale.
Let's just say it was mutual, and I did 4 seasons, and it wasn't a good fit for either side anymore, and so I left. But I left at the end of pilot season, so I couldn't go out for any pilots this year.
That was poor planning.
Yeah. I completely agree.
That's where you're like, I gotta get this
Boy,
voiceover.
I sure would. I sure agree. That was poor planned.
Well, that's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm not.
Okay.
I enjoyed my time on the show, but now I'm looking forward to doing other things.
Something else.
Yeah.
You are a dad.
I am a dad.
How old is your kid now?
Year and a half.
Year and a half. So you've become a dad since you did my show last.
Yeah.
And what's his name?
Jasper.
Jasper.
Jasper Jones.
Where'd that name come from?
I don't know. We literally were just thinking of names, and one day we were walking, and she was like, I don't know if she or I. One of us said Jasper. We still don't.
I don't know.
remember.
Grammatically, I don't know what it is.
Huh?
She or I? No.
Oh, gosh. Me or she. One of us said Jasper, and then we were just like, yeah, I like that. And then we wrestled with it up until the day he was born. And then we just kind of picked that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's he like?
He's a lunatic.
Yeah.
He's a
super
boy.
cute.
He's really, really big.
Yeah.
Doctor told us he's probably going to be about 6'4".
That's about you, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
He's really smart and manipulative.
Nice.
And
Nice.
super energetic.
So a baby, so a kid.
Yeah, he's
You're just
really,
describing a kid.
But he can pick anything up and throw it. So
He's strong.
he's extremely strong. Not
Like
a good
Bam
way.
Bam?
Not like, oh, I'm so proud. More like he's gonna hurt someone. He cut Kelly's nose yesterday. He
right.
cut my nose the other day.
With what? His
With his nails.
nails?
No, throwing something.
A knife?
Yeah. Yeah, he's
into knife throwing.
He's into knife throwing. That's good. He's gonna be really good at it. But yeah, he's doing that. I hope he is a left-handed pitcher at some point, but
Okay.
I think the idiot's right-handed, so I don't know.
Are you guys gonna have another? You think?
No,
No, that's
probably
it.
not.
Boom, one and done.
One and done.
That's good.
Break the mold.
Break the mold, break it up. So when did the idea for your movie come about? It's called The Night Is Young.
Mm-hmm.
When did that start? Who came up with that first, or did you both kind of?
There was like 4 different working titles.
Yeah.
I think we actually named the movie like a week or 2 before we actually shot it.
Yeah, we had a lot of night titles.
I couldn't quite.
One of those nights, that one night,
Yeah.
you know,
The Dark
night by night. We had a bunch of The Dark Knight, and then we did The Dark Knight Rises, both of which were turned down by the Trademark Association.
Well, who
Yeah.
came up with the story? Like these.
We both kind of just,
Yeah.
honestly, through writing, just kind of improvised the story, and the story came about through writing.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it.
Because about 45 minutes ago, you asked us what our writing process was like.
Right.
And then we went on a bunch of tangents. But we really, honestly, our writing process is basically sitting at one of our kitchen tables and basically doing our improvised show.
Oh.
And doing a bunch of characters and doing a bunch of scenes and
And the way we wrote it, and then we rewrote it, and then we rewrote it, and we rewrote it, and we rewrote it.
and each time we would re-improvise it and re-perform it while we were writing it.
That's interesting.
So that to me was kind of a unique process. I've done writing with other people before, and I've done writing on my own, but I've never done anything like that.
And there was a bit of improv on the shoot, but not that much.
Yeah.
Because we were
tight on time.
tight on time.
Tight.
Because you made it in 12 days. Is that right?
Yes.
12 nights.
12 nights.
All night shoots.
All night shoots
The
in
night
12
is-
days. Here's a little tip, kids.
Oh, yes.
Don't make a movie like that.
Why
Never,
not?
ever do it.
Oh,
Why
I
not?
mean, it was super fun and it was great, and we're proud of it. But it was so tight and so stressful.
And also, like, our 12 days were nearly consecutive.
Yeah.
Because we did 6 days, day off, 6 days.
Right.
And we were just like, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
Really? Just
Yeah.
in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's all it took.
Yeah. And I mean,
Because
I can't. The other thing I can't believe, we made all our days. We didn't go over. We didn't go into overtime. We didn't have to go back and add anything or reshoot anything. That's more incredible. That's more of a that's our AD and our DP and how professional everybody was.
No, but also, like,
But-
meticulous planning before
Yeah.
we started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
We did do
Planned
pretty good
it out.
planning. Yeah.
How'd you guys fund it?
Oh, buddy, we reached down in the couch cushions and came up with
that's pretty much it.
all of our.
Did you
our
do like a
nickels.
crowdfunding?
Nope.
No, we did not want to do that.
It was all self-funded.
Self-funded.
It was right around the time where a certain former TV star had crowdfunded something.
Zach
and,
Braff.
Yeah.
And there had been quite a bit of backlash, which I tended to agree with.
Okay.
I just hate that.
If you're somebody in Oklahoma City or Portland or Missoula, Montana, and you don't have any access to funds and you want to make a movie that you believe in and your friends want to fund it, I think that's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But if you have access to funds and you do it that way, I just, knowing a little bit about the world of Kickstarter and being involved in some projects that have used that, I fundamentally disagree with that. I just think
and I know a ton of things that crowdfunded, got the money, and never came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, never even finished making it.
Yeah.
That's a chance. I guess that's a risk.
Yeah.
That's a risk. Everything's a risk. Okay, I've backed things up that I'm like, I wonder what happened to that thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
What happened to that thing?
Yeah.
So you start writing it. Now the character Matt that you play, Matt, is a TV guy who was on the greatest TV show ever, right?
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. It's improvised.
It just felt right for his character to.
You know what's
have
really
that.
funny? When we wrote it, like in the movie, this guy's on a popular TV show, but he plays like a, what do I say?
Slow.
Semi-retarded man-child
Right.
on that show, and that's kind of what I felt about Badger on Breaking Bad. Is I was,
Right.
I was playing a big idiot,
Right.
and my experience while we were writing it, and that was Breaking Bad. It was like hitting its apex. Was everywhere I went, people thought I was actually stupid, or I was actually that character,
Right.
and it really started getting on my nerves.
We would travel doing improv shows, and like everywhere we went, somebody would walk up to Matt with like drugs or just hey man, I get it, like whatever.
No, and
we were going
like,
to a Lakers game.
Yeah.
We were at a crosswalk going to a Lakers game.
Yeah.
And somebody came up and tried to put a joint in Matt's hand.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like insane.
But, and like I get they're fans of the show, and I was really happy about the show, obviously, and all that stuff. But there comes a point when like 5 times a day someone treats you like you're a moron.
Right.
You kind of start going like, God damn it, I'm really sick of this.
Ask me a question about something. I'll answer it.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know the answer to that. But like, I'm a husband and now a father. And,
Yeah.
I've directed a TV show now and all this stuff. And it just started to wear on me. Anyhow, by the time we were editing the movie, I say to Dave, I was like, I don't really care about this anymore.
Well, you got it out.
I got that out. It kind of went away.
We said a lot of times when we talked about the movie that it was semi-autobiographical, heavy on the autobiographical.
Yeah.
Because both of us, a lot of the stuff that I put into my character, that we put into my character, that was actually kind of fun, was something that we would do when we were writing is we would actually flip.
Yeah.
And he would play Dave and I would play Matt. And we would do scenes where we would be the other person.
Oh, interesting.
And just kind of... Because a lot of times what we were getting into... Because I liked that we put a lot of our life at the time we were writing into the script and into the characters. I actually thought it helped and made it more resonant for me, but especially acting it. But it was kind of cool because from the outside we could see where the other person was maybe, not fudging, but just kind of like not going all the way there. Yeah. And so we would flip, and a lot of really great moments and lines came from that, I felt like.
And it was so autobiographical that, shot at your house.
Yeah. Shot a
good chunk of it at my house. Money and time.
We did save a lot
that
of
party
money.
scene?
Party scene at the end.
Okay, so your house. Yeah. That's so funny. Do you guys tape your shows that you do on stage?
We've done it.
We haven't done it in a while. I mean, we haven't been back on the regular for a while doing the show. We're gonna get back to doing it probably in June.
Just for like references of
writing.
We do have. For references, no. We don't do it for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's I don't care. It's sometimes tough to find a good theater to do stuff at in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we were like, we want to do a run.
Yeah.
Like we could do it at IO. It's got a great bar.
Sure.
Mhm.
And a lot of our
that's
friends,
where we met.
a lot of
And
our
that's where we
friends there.
started.
But the inconsistency in that place sometimes drive you crazy.
I know.
And UCB is just like,
Well,
We did
I
do
recommend
you
one.
remember this? We did pretty soon after UCB had opened. They didn't have the programming that they have now, so they had a lot of outside groups coming to do stuff. I did Baby Wants Candy, the musical,
Sure.
at UCB for like 6 months, maybe more. And you and I did I don't know if it was a cage match or it was just a show with small groups.
yeah.
And we went out and did our show, and it was fun, but it was not UCB style at all.
Yeah.
And it was just like people in like this crowd of like 18 and 19-year-olds were just like, what is this thing you're doing? You know?
Wow.
And then this other group came out, and it was, I remember like the first or second line was just like, you want to put that in my ass, you better pay me $1. Like, it was just like totally different content, like right out of the chute, and the audience just like, ah! You know, I was like, okay, well, maybe our style is not exactly suited for.
Do you guys go to Largo ever?
Oh, I've done stuff there, but
Yeah, it's a big room.
it is a big room.
It's a big room,
Yeah.
but I saw.
I love improv in small.
Yeah.
small places.
Although Largo's probably about as big. Improvised Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's like a 5
Yeah, but it's a big
person-
group. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like a 280 house or something.
Is it
Yeah.
that big? I would have
that.
thought it was.
My favorite improv place is like 50 to 100.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
best.
I saw
To
Thomas.
watch, to
yeah.
perform all of it.
I saw
Yeah.
Middleditch and Schwartz there.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
So I just was thinking, you could do a 2-person
Yeah.
here, make it work somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it. I'm sure they get like half the door or something. I
Yeah.
assume.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, would you guys ever start your own theater?
No. Hell no.
No. I
I've
mean,
known so many people that have done it, and literally no one's happy about it.
yeah.
I've never met a person like, I'm so glad I started a theater. Like, a lot of them are like, yeah, I mean, they're just so
Yeah.
tired all the time, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I feel like with the clubhouse, I think Becky Drysdale doesn't even live here.
Yeah.
I think she lives in New York, so she's
Yeah.
like not even in the same city. She's like, I don't even want to be in the same city as my own theater.
Yeah.
She's got plenty of good reasons, I'm sure.
Well, you guys have a lot of cameos in your film.
We do.
I'll go down some of them. Jay Hernandez from Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Jay's in it.
Kevin Pollak
Uh-huh.
from Mom, and Allison Janney, also, who plays like a Obi-Wan Kenobi Uber driver.
Sure. Kevin Pollak was also in The Usual Suspects.
I was gonna say,
Don't know what that is.
And Casino?
not
Don't know
familiar.
what that
No,
is.
Casino?
Casino. Okay.
Paul Britton, Andy St. Clair,
Sam Richardson.
Richardson,
Trevante
Ryan
Rhodes.
Stack,
Trevante Rhodes from
Trevante Rhodes.
From Moonlight.
Moonlight.
He had lived here for 2 months.
It's like one of his
Yeah.
first.
It was one of his first roles in
Moonlight
LA.
was?
No.
Oh,
well,
your thing was.
Ours was. And I
You
was.
guys made it in 2015, right?
yeah.
It was shot in 15 or
2000, 2000, end of 2014.
End of 2014.
Yeah.
And it just came out digitally this past year? Or
January.
This January. This past January.
iTunes, Amazon,
Really that
Vimeo, and soon to be streaming.
You just
Yeah, it
blew
was.
Matt's mind.
Yeah. It was a while ago, Matt. It was a while ago. We made it a while ago.
Briga Heelan
Yeah.
is in it.
It was on Great News.
Great
Thomas Fowler, who I thought was fucking so funny.
He's probably
so
my favorite
great.
part of the movie.
Nate Cordry,
Brett Gelman.
Brett Gelman, Sam Levine, Jamie Moore.
Oh, Sam Levine, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys doing on making what you put into it back?
Well,
Pretty good.
actually, you know what? We're that is finally starting now because
Okay.
we have a distribution.
It takes a long time.
but it takes a
Yeah,
long
yeah.
time, and we've got foreign distribution as well.
Oh, cool.
So we've sold to a company in China.
Oh, big market, China. Big market.
Although for American comedies, maybe not that big, but and then Latin America, and then there's I think we're negotiating a deal for, I think, New Zealand.
Cool.
So
it's a long process. Like you guys had it in like a limited release when it.
we didn't even do that.
Didn't even do that.
We did festivals. We did a couple festivals. We had our premiere at the Austin Film Festival.
Oh, Austin, that's a good one. But it took a couple years to get it even on iTunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
even though it was a long time, I mean, we beat the odds by so much. It's crazy, and even that is like, it's just so insane how long it takes and all the effort. I mean, I think that, like, I've said this before in interviews we've done about the movie, that if we knew what we didn't know at the time we started,
well, like, we literally executive produced this ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
We didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
Right.
And we learned along the way.
Yeah.
Like, I went to film school on this movie, and I learned a lot of things that I will never do again, and things that worked.
Yep.
So,
Will you make another film together or something?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, we're talking about it. Yeah. We're starting to get back to writing.
A lot more nudity, though.
A lot more nudity, bro.
Good.
I mean, we're gonna have some butts.
China loves
Butts.
nudity.
Yeah, do they?
Love nudity.
I was just making a movie called Naked Bus.
Naked bus.
It's just
Naked bus.
bus, yeah. It's a bus full of naked people, and the real things that happens in their lives.
Because naked people get real too.
That's true.
You don't have to just have sex, EJ.
All right, I'm sorry.
They're gonna have a lot of sex.
Don't worry, dudes. Don't worry, guys. There's gonna be a lot of sex.
So you guys take the movie, and it's basically like guys hanging out at a bar and into a club. And
one of the conceits of the whole thing was to shoot it in as few locations as possible in as little time as possible, so that we could afford it and all that. I mean,
But we also wanted it to be feel more like a real night in LA than a lot of films that we'd seen.
Yeah.
You know?
And like, probably one of the things we learned from it was it would be fun to shoot in more locations than just 3, you know, or 4, 5.
5 total.
5
yeah.
total.
6,
7. But you know what I mean? Like, it was... Yeah.
And then I think that while we were talking about improv being such a part of the writing and creation of it, I personally would love to have the time to be able to, because we had such great improv actors in all the in so many of these roles, that if we had just a little bit of time to mess around on set. I mean, we had a little bit. We did have a little bit, but because of the time crunch, we just couldn't let it roll and just do that a bunch. So, you know, I, for one, like, now I go back and watch it, I watched it with my family recently, and it's like, ugh, I wish we'd just improvised that whole chunk instead of that.
And even stuff just between he and I should have been improvised.
Yeah.
Just because
it's hard to do on a budget like
it
that.
is,
Though, right?
and it was totally done that way for good reasons, which is that we just didn't have the time or the money.
The two, at Covell at the table, the side 2 shot. If we just would have done 2 takes where we just let's just go off script and just do it.
But that
was use that in the edit. We really
could have. But that was that particular location and day was our hardest day.
Because we had an actor not show up.
We had an actor that did not show up.
Oh, and his name?
You know,
what's his name? The guy that played Smith Jarrett on Sex and the City.
In Sex and the City.
Smith Jarrett.
Jason.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He. Our call time was 4 a.m. because we started shooting at 4. Our call time was like 3 a.m. because we started shooting at 4.
Right.
Because we would shoot after bars would close down, and we would shoot between when they were closed.
Because we didn't have the money to buy them out for when they would be normally open.
And then we'd black out the windows for when the sun came up. But didn't show up, and he was like in Malibu, and he was in every shot that day.
Yeah.
So we were just like, okay. And I called Mike Postlakis, who did the scene with Pollock, who lived 2 blocks away, and I woke him up, and I was like, can you wake up and come perform for me?
Oh,
and he did. So.
He did.
That's a good dude.
I gave him my shirt.
Yeah.
And he did the scene, and he was great.
Right, he did give me a shirt.
That's a good dude. There's a lot of extras. Yeah, I saw some King 10 extras. A little shout out to King 10.
Yeah, a little King 10, a little, at the time,
bar.
Triggerfinger, which was a group that I coached. They had a bunch of them are cameos in, a bunch of IO students at the time, now performers.
Nice.
Are cameos in there, yeah.
Well, Matt Walsh he makes improvised movies.
I was in one.
Were you?
High Road.
High Road?
It was me and James Pumphrey and Lizzie Kaplan and Abby Elliott. Yeah.
How is it's not scripted, right? Or is it like loosely scripted?
No, it wasn't scripted at all. I mean, you have to have a plot, obviously, and you have to have like an idea of what each scene needs to kind of accomplish. But besides that, no scripts.
Was that before or after you made Night?
I wrote. I think you made right before we shot.
Right before.
Because then I know you went and did a couple festivals while we were editing. I think.
Yeah. I went to the Fargo Film Festival with High Road. Interesting time.
Yeah.
It's just me, Joe Latrulio, Rich Sommer, and Matt Walsh in a hotel in the middle of Fargo, North Dakota for a weekend. Boy, it was weird. We had a good time, though.
I was there. I ran a marathon there in 2012.
Oh, yeah.
And me and my guide stayed in like an empty college dorm.
Oh, boy.
For the summer, it was empty. So they rent it out. As like, they rent out rooms.
Don't pay any attention to The Shining. Pay no attention to the ghosts.
But it's literally like a college. It's all brick, and painted brick and like a cot. Yeah. And you're sharing bathrooms down the hall. Yeah. And there's no air conditioning or heat. Well, there's probably heat.
There's probably heat. Probably not air conditioning.
It was so hot.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Oh, it was pretty miserable. Yeah. It was pretty miserable.
Those upper Midwest summers get pretty humid and hot. Yeah.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad. Okay, so maybe would you do another like a improvised thing? That makes so much sense for me. You guys are improvisers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, at least one that had more. Way more. Yeah. Absolutely.
Matt, you mentioned directing a TV show called Borderline, right? You directed all 6 episodes?
All 6 episodes.
That's pretty great.
I show ran and story edited and directed.
How'd you do that? How'd you get into that?
One of my best friends growing up, he moved to England, and his wife is English, so he, moved there. And he wrote a show and sold it, and it was going to get made. And he liked the movie and knew me very well, and obviously. And he was like, "Hey, can you come direct a TV show for like no money?" And it was not no money, but practically.
Yeah.
And live in England for a couple months.
Yeah.
And I did, and it was partially improvised. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Really?
But it was really fun. I'm proud of it. It's on Netflix now. It's called Borderline.
Why is it the hardest thing you've ever done?
I did 6 episodes in 15 shoot days.
Whoa.
6 episodes. So
in 15 days?
Wait. 16 shoot days. So
66. So that's like 3 weeks.
So it was 3 days per episode, whatever that is. 15 episodes, 16.
18.
Yeah, it wasn't 18. No, it was like 16.
In the teens.
Yeah, it was in the teens.
Still, that's pretty.
Still, that's insane.
It was a year ago.
Yeah.
So we were shooting. I set it up to where my set was all kind of in one location. We pre-lit everything for about a week. I had rehearsals for 10 days,
that's
all
smart.
before we shot. So then once we got on set, we knew exactly what was happening in every scene. Wasn't much improv there, but then I had time, and I had allotted time per day to go to a location and have completely improvised scenes. So I'd have my scripted scenes, and then I'd have improvised scenes, and then we would blend them together in post.
When you're directing an improvised scene, do you do stuff like, do you yell out lines for them to say or anything like that?
No. Because I don't want to ruin it, because then there's always some chance that they'll do something weird and then I'll miss it because I was yelling.
Right.
And the way that works for those is improvised scenes, you have to shoot with 2 cameras at least, because you have to have something to cut to around.
Yep.
If you have like a big bad pause or they go off track in the middle, then you can just cut that out later and layer it in.
Right. Ooh, that sounds cool. I'm
It
gonna
was
check that
really
out.
fun.
It's really good.
I'll add that to my thing.
And they're all British.
Yeah. Bunch of them have come over and visited.
I've had a lot of people like, you directed that? It's all English people. Like, there was like 2 Americans on the whole crew. It was me and my friend. That was it.
And Dave, you did an episode of Great News.
Yeah, new show.
Yeah, it was
Brady
getting...
Nealon, who was in our movie,
Yeah.
is the lead of this new show on NBC. Just premiered as we're recording this a couple days
It's
ago.
getting good write-ups.
It's getting some really good write-ups. It's I love it. It's kind of a throwback. It's Tina Fey and Robert Carlock executive producing, and then Tracy Wakefield, who wrote on 30 Rock, and I think won an Emmy for writing on 30 Rock, is the creator showrunner. And it's like a murderer's row cast. John Michael Higgins and Andrea Martin, who I would assume people listen to your podcast know who they are. But John Michael Higgins is one of the commentators from Pitch Perfect.
Yeah,
he's in
all the.
Please, God, tell me that's not what he's known for.
No, but that's something people would know him for. He's all the
Guest.
Christopher Guest movies.
Yeah.
Is how I know him. It's so great.
I saw Andrew Martin last year in Noises Off on Broadway.
Which I think she was nominated for a Tony.
Probably. She was so good.
She's so good.
So good.
I mean, being on set like around them, I totally was.
And I got to see her rehearse it.
That's cool.
I got to see her rehearse it a little bit.
That's cool.
I did a scene with John Michael Higgins on Community.
Uh-huh.
Oh, cool.
He's a really funny guy.
He is a really funny guy, really nice guy.
I knew that. Yeah. I knew that.
Sure.
And I've never worked with him.
They made Horatio Sands is in it. Nicole Richie is in it. She's actually really funny.
Who'd you have your scenes with?
I had my scenes with. I play the conceit of the show is that it's at a like a cable news show.
Yeah.
And I play part of a duo that is the rivals to the John Michael Higgins, Nicole Richie they're the broadcaster duo, and then I'm part of a rival duo. And my counterpart is Adam County, who is a writer on like Silicon Valley and Mindy Project and stuff like that. And so he and I are together, and it's just like quick bits, but we're in a couple of the episodes of the 10 that they're
cool.
airing, so it's fun.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Your character in The Night Is Young is very pessimistic. Is that good to say? Are you like that in real life? Are you pretty
100%.
negative?
That character.
That qualifies as autobiographical.
Yeah. that character is the closest I've ever played to myself in anything I've ever done.
Why are you so negative? Why?
Oh, because everything turns to shit in the end. You give me a reason not to be negative.
Oh man.
I mean,
it's really funny.
You can stop and smell the roses, but you're gonna sneeze.
Your eyes are gonna water.
Your eyes are gonna water. You're gonna go to bed feeling like shit. No, I'm a negative guy sometimes.
Yeah.
But I see that the negative makes the positive better, I guess, when it happens.
Oh, that's kind of a nice way to look at it.
I think it's more titled bipolar. I mean, I'm not bipolar, but I definitely have my ups and downs.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pessimistic. Sure.
Okay. And then, Dave, you're more of the optimist.
Yes. And that's also true.
in
That's
real
also
life?
true in my life. Yes. It's very funny. We're very much yin to each other's yang.
Yeah.
When it comes to our personalities and outlook.
Yeah.
And then somehow we meet in the middle on comedy, which is kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, like even while directing the movie, I'd be like, you have to go talk to this person because I can't be nice. I literally can't be nice.
And I'd be like, all right.
Because I'm going to fucking say something
All
to
right,
you.
great.
I'm really angry and I got to say something and you can say it in a nicer way. So please don't do that.
Well, that's good as a director. I mean, you've coached forever.
Yeah.
You've taught forever. So you need that kind of temperament, right?
Yeah.
To talk to people and stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely in my coaching and teaching, and it definitely carried over into directing too, but I try to go from the mindset of like, let's keep it positive, but constructive and productive, not just frou-frou, fluffy, everything's great and puppy dogs and ice cream,
Right.
which I frankly feel like too many improv teachers and coaches do that, and then they don't actually get into let's get better by working on things and seeing that there are skills and technique that everybody needs to improve on. So I try to keep it positive but productive. And then, I think that's that's my outlook, and it definitely was there when I was directing. But it's funny because Matt and I, now when we travel, and we're about to travel again in a couple weeks to Atlanta for the Atlanta Improv Fest, sometimes we do a tag team workshop when we travel.
Oh, right.
And it's so fun. We are always on the side laughing because we'll kind of like trade off giving notes. And Matt will go out there, and one of his favorite things to say in workshops is like, stop. Why are you doing this? Like, he'll just be like, he'll bring everything, and he's absolutely right, because they don't have a plan, and they don't have any, they're not really guided by ideas, and then it's really funny, because he'll be like, stop, why are you doing this? And then the next time it'll be my turn, and I'll be like, all right, that was great, so let's talk about, but it's just how we frame things.
Nice to confuse the kids.
But we're really saying the same thing.
Right. Well, because I'll be like, stop. Just, are you enjoying yourself right now during this scene? And they'd be like, no. And I was like, because we're not enjoying watching it. So just stop doing it. Just stop. No one's going to be mad. Just do another scene.
It's great. I remember one time we were in, I think, Austin, and we were in the middle of a workshop, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I like walk out to go to the bathroom, and I come back in, and like there's these two people on stage that Matt has stopped, and he's just like walking around and just like, if you want to stop. Nobody, and like I was just like, I walked back in the room, and I was like, whoa, what are we doing? Where are we at?
Oh, Matt, have you ever taught and coached?
A ton, yeah.
Yeah, a ton. Yeah. Were you like that then?
I always have
been. Did you make people cry?
I've made people cry a couple times.
Yeah, a couple times.
But not in like never in the what do you call it? Like they're crying because they feel they've done something wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Never in that.
Yeah.
I could get a little philosophical and a little I don't know, psychoanalytical with people. And I did this one workshop. I won't say what city it was in, but this girl had done something in a scene. I was like, why did you do that? And she's like, I don't know what it was. She's like, because my character's angry. I was like, well, why is she angry? Because she can't control the situation. Well, why does she need to control the situation? Because she needs to be in control. Like, why is she in control? Because if she's out of control, she'll fall apart. I was like, well, then there's your scene. Let yourself fall apart. If you know the why of all these things you're doing, then you can get to the core of what the scene is.
Crying.
No, she cried, and then she came up to me afterward and gave me a hug, and was very happy about it. Mm-hmm. Most improv people are real touchy-feely about that shit. If you got a person there just to do the yakety-schmackety jokes, then we're not going to get along anyway.
Yeah. That's funny. So how often do you guys improvise together these days?
It's been a while.
It's been too long. Yeah,
we've both been busy.
We've both been busy. He's got a son. He's got a child.
Wife and child.
Wife and child.
Now, Dave, you're the more positive one, and yet you're single.
I can't believe you did this to me.
I'm getting philosophical.
Oh, that's hilarious. I'm not single. I'm dating somebody.
Are you dating someone?
Yes.
Okay. My apologies.
Yes. And she's great. And,
cool. I'm happy to hear.
Very into it.
Good.
So,
how long has it been?
It's been 8 months.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So, yeah, but back to your question.
Okay.
Quick segue. No, we're gonna get back performing on the regular in June. We just have to figure out
where.
Commit to a place.
It's hard in LA, right?
It is, and I will say, since we stopped doing our show at IO Weekly, which is now probably about when Jasper was born, so like about a year and a half ago, a little more. There's been a real switch in because the indie scene is so ascendant now. There's been a switch in how a lot of the theaters program, where there's just like, I feel like there's double or triple the number of groups.
Right, I'm sure.
So now a lot of the theaters don't want to do as many weekly slots. They move things around, and then also I think it's culturally, like, people don't sit down and watch things weekly. They want to binge it all at one point. I think, there's just like an evolution of that.
Yeah.
Also, like, we don't want to do 11 o'clock slots.
Well, yeah, that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have to go to bed.
Oh, I get it. I'm in bed by 11.
Like, if there's
I'm in bed by
a
11.
slot
I don't have
that's
kids.
like 10 o'clock or later, it's just like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Because then I don't get home and go to bed till 1, and
Yeah.
it's unmanageable for my lifestyle.
That is untenable. That is not possible.
How it change has happened, right? Though. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
The improv life is you hang out till 4 a.m.
Absolutely. But now,
Drinking.
every day, I get up at 6:30 with my son.
Yeah.
And my life is better. I'm
Yeah.
a healthier person.
Yeah.
I don't drink till I fall asleep every night.
Yeah.
And wake up at noon.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't happen anymore. I mean, I miss those days. But like now, if I get drunk, I feel terrible for 4 days.
Yeah, me too.
I can't get drunk anymore.
I drink 2 beers and I have an instant hangover.
Yeah.
During drinking the second beer.
By the way, I have a new trick.
Okay.
Learned it from my wife's friend, Gracie. I'm my friend too.
Yeah.
Tequila.
Oh, tequila's
just,
great.
Just tequila on
And
the
I'll
rocks.
tell you, my girlfriend drinks tequila only
Just tequila
as well.
on the rocks. Have like 2 of those. You'll get a buzz. Next day, no hangover.
No hangover. I'll tell you, but see, that's the thing, buddy. I wasn't a big tequila drinker either, and then Gracie loves tequila, so I would drink a little bit with her, and then my girlfriend Celeste drinks it only.
And I'm not talking about shots of tequila with lime.
No.
I'm talking about
No.
sipping tequila.
Sipping tequila.
You get a buzz. It's a drink,
Yeah.
and there's no hangover, and
Yeah.
it's not like beer where you fart for 3 days. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna do that regardless.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna do that regardless.
Anyway,
I'm
so
gonna-
that's a little tip for all you people
Yeah.
that love to drink out there.
all you young improvisers.
That's right.
Tequila.
Tequila.
I'm in the process of not drinking soda, juice,
Mm-hmm.
or alcohol for like 90 days
That's
Doing
good.
that thing.
because I put a lot
Yeah.
of weight on.
Put the
since I
cleanse
stopped.
on.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
So it's good though. It's working.
Good.
Beer's the
working.
big one.
Beer's,
Yeah,
well,
beer's a
soda's
big
a
one.
big one for me. I was real hooked for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
Get you.
Every day I'd wait. I go, how am I gonna get soda today? I guess I gotta walk to the store and buy some
Like
soda.
Diet Coke?
No, not diet. Diet's for pussies.
Jesus, AJ. I don't think I've drank a regular soda in a long time.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I get a sugar rush
Yeah.
when I'm like jittery.
No. Yeah,
Wow.
that's what I do. in my bad days, I used to drink like a 2 liter of Mountain Dew a day.
Holy shit.
Yeah, in my bad days, like years ago, a decade ago, at least.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so much sugar.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When I was in high school, I used to, if I wanted to stay up late, I'd drink Jolt. Remember
Oh,
Jolt?
yeah.
Yeah,
Jolt.
I used to pour Jolt
Mountain
in a coffee.
Oh my god.
Into caffeinated coffee.
How does
Yeah,
your
exactly.
stomach doesn't have?
It was
how does it
bad.
not have
I would
holes in
make
it?
there was this place in Amsterdam that had Jolt Cola that you could get, and I would get one of those, and I'd make a double espresso coffee and pour it in, so I could get through the night, because some of those nights were super long. But I was fine back then. Nowadays,
Well, yeah.
I was
because you have
young.
the
I was
metabolism,
like 22.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the movie, pretty much the last scene is a sunrise. You guys have stayed up all night, and the sun's coming up, and a bunch of the our friends are there hanging out and stuff. Was that the last night of the shoot?
No.
No, that was probably day 9,
Okay.
8.
Midway.
Yeah, kind of midway
was
to
beginning
second
of
half.
week
Yeah,
2, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
What was
Yeah.
that night like? What's that
Shot at
call
Griffith
time?
Park. You know,
We got
it's
to shoot in
actually-
Griffith Park. Yeah.
Call time was at like 5. We shot till 5 to 5, and
That was actually a trick.
yeah, the sunrise in that was actually the sunset.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that is a trick.
yeah,
Because the sun rises from the east.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in the west. But I don't know which direction you're facing.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah. So, yeah, and then we shot the middle of the night scene like right when it got real dark at like 7, because then that's when the city looks the most vibrant.
right.
When you look out, when Gelman looks out over the thing,
He was so funny.
he's very.
How'd you get
so
some of these
funny.
guys to do like this little? But you know these.
A lot of them we
Yeah,
just asked.
You just asked
I mean, it was crazy. I mean, some of them it was like, they're not going to say yes, but let's ask.
Yeah,
And then all of them said yes.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I think the only person no, they didn't even say no. They just couldn't do it because they had another gig.
We had a couple friends that just were out of
Yeah.
town.
Yeah. Did you ask Anna Faris?
I did not.
Because you got a couple of the mom people.
Well, yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
ask Anna just because there wasn't like the right thing for her, and I
Yeah,
didn't
sure.
want to waste someone like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
She's got a podcast too.
She
She
does.
does.
She's doing very well with her podcast.
I love Anna a lot.
Yeah. I got to see her in person the other night. I was at the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 premiere,
Nice.
and she looked beautiful. I didn't get to talk to her or anything. But if I did, I would have said, I know Matt Jones. Is that
And she would have just slapped you
do
right in your
anything?
face.
Probably. I would have taken it, though.
Her
Well,
and Chris are literally the nicest people.
Yeah.
they
They
seem
would
like
have
it.
hugged
Yeah.
They would they?
you. They would have hugged you.
Oh, I would have loved to get a hug from those.
Yeah.
I met John Voight that night.
Oh, yeah.
That was random.
Strange
That
guy.
is random.
Nice guy, strange guy.
Nice guy, strange guy. Yeah, I got that vibe
Yeah,
of both.
absolutely.
Of both that night.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys have anything coming up that you'd like to plug?
No.
Borderline on Netflix.
I think
Great
I might,
news.
Great news.
I'm in at least another episode of that out of the 10.
I think I
So-
might go get a sandwich after this.
Yeah, let's go get a sandwich.
Well, buy The Night is Young on iTunes
Or Amazon.
or Amazon.
Vimeo.
Vimeo.
Mhm. Voodoo, I think it's even on.
Voodoo. Are there DVDs of it or anything?
They're going to be making some.
Do you have any
Yeah.
extra features on there?
That's interesting. We
Like
haven't
a
talked to them about
commentary
that.
or anything?
Maybe.
Do a
Maybe.
commentary?
Yeah,
It
maybe.
might cost too much.
Yeah.
Really?
If it's something where we're footing the bill, that may not happen.
not.
You
That probably would
could,
not
if you
happen.
wanted, you could do like what Riff Tracks does. You record an audio, and then you could just release it for free,
Oh, yeah.
and then people can just line it up as they watch the
that's
movie.
fun.
I was thinking of doing that with my documentary. It's an idea.
That is a great idea. Thank you,
It's an
EJ.
idea. You're welcome. I'm here to help.
In addition to the many thousands of dollars you're paying us to do this,
Yeah.
that's a great tip that's also worth a lot.
Anyway,
moving on. Thank you. Thank you, EJ. Thank you.
Am I paying for your debt of the movie?
We would never ask
many
you.
more
We would never ask you to sell a kidney to do that. No.
Or like 5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, hey guys, thank you so much.
No, thank you.
All
Thanks,
the best
EJ.
to you. It was good
Yeah, man.
chatting.
Sorry, I was
Great to see you.
I hope you get that job, Matt.
So do I.
I hope it was worth it. And I look forward to your next collaboration.
Thank you.
And I'll come see you guys do Hill Jones whenever you get a space.
Look forward in
Anytime,
June.
anytime.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
scene.
And scene.
There you go, folks. That was my talk with Dave Hill and Matt Jones. Thanks so much, Dave and Matt, for coming by. I know it's not convenient to sometimes get here when you have active and busy lives. So I really appreciate your time and effort. It was great talking with you guys. We covered a lot of ground, I think. So I hope everybody enjoyed listening. One more time. Well, for them, go rent or buy the film The Night is Young. And as for me, you could once again follow me on Twitter at EJ Scott and the podcast at EJ Podcast, Instagram EJ Scott1106, website EJScott.com. While you're on iTunes, maybe rent or buy Running Blind for only $2 or $3 and 30 minutes of your time. You'll be glad you did. And you could also subscribe on iTunes to the podcast. And I'm on iHeartRadio as well. So if you're more inclined to listen there, go ahead. I've even started posting some of these podcasts on YouTube. So you can hear the audio on YouTube if that's your thing, I guess. But that's about it. And thanks for listening. Please share. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.